Far west of Central America, in the vast Pacific Ocean, exists a place of unparalleled beauty. Robert Louis Stevenson called it Treasure Island. But its greatest treasures by far lie beneath the waves. Hammerhead sharks glide overhead in greater number here than anywhere else. Thousands of sleek predators gather here. They give this unique place its name, Island of the Sharks. Cocos Island is the summit of an extinct volcano, an underwater mountain rising thousands of feet from the sea floor. When deep ocean currents collide with such mountains, called seamounts, the currents are forced upward, bringing cold, nutrient-rich water toward the surface. Sunlight and nutrients spur the growth of minute plants and animals. They're known as plankton. Delicate comb jellies, newly hatched spiny lobsters, blue button jellies, drifting like snowflakes. Cocos is a way station for hungry travelers and home for its year-round residents. White-tipped reef sharks constantly cruise the reef. Using keen senses, they hunt first for the injured and the trapped. They know a fish is hurt by the way it moves. They can detect the faintest smell of blood. They can even sense the electric field generated by the twitch of a muscle. But there's more to life at Cocos than eat or be eaten. Some species are linked by an extraordinary instinct for cooperation. These bright yellow barber fish are plucking tiny parasites from larger fish who line up for the service. The barber fish get a meal, while the larger fish get relief from irritating parasites. Somehow, they know not to bite back. Thousands of hammerhead sharks migrate to Cocos. They gather in immense schools, soaring overhead like birds of prey on a sea wind. Surprisingly, the sharks aren't here to hunt. They're here to be groomed. Hammerheads must keep swimming in order to breathe, and barberfish struggle to keep up. Only later will the sharks descend into deeper water to hunt squid a few miles from the reef. The ancient-looking creatures have roamed the seas for more than 50 million years. Cocos is a wilderness sanctuary teeming with life. But what nature gives, it can take away. Every few years, deep ocean currents fail to rise, part of a phenomenon called El Niño. Without the cold, nutrient-rich water, the clouds of plankton begin to disappear. As the water grows warmer, food becomes scarce. Some animals starve. Others simply leave. Most head north to escape the effects of El Niño. Cocos Island is a Costa Rican national park, protected by law. But not far away, commercial fishing boats lie in wait. Miles of nets are set each day to catch the migrating fish. As the schools swim away from Cocos to find food, the risk of capture increases. If the fishing boats don't get them, other predators may. Sea lions swim out from Mexico and Central America to intercept the schools. They herd the frantic fish into a ball that begins to spin like a tornado. Striped marlin join in, predators armed with swords. Marlin and sea lions converge below the spinning school, forcing the fish skyward, trapping them against the surface. The hunt ends when the last fish is taken. Despite the island's air of serenity, the effects of El Niño continue. Coral, stressed by warmer water, bleaches white and dies. The water becomes clear. The multitude of plankton is gone. So are most of the creatures that once covered the reef. Not all large predators have abandoned the island. Some white-tip reef sharks still eke out a living hunting the dwindling number of smaller fish. The 5-foot-long white-tips pursue their prey almost anywhere. This shark's skin is like armor, tough enough to protect against the sharpest rock. With food so hard to find, the hunt is everything. But a few animals actually flourish during El Niño. As coral dies, it's covered by algae, which cushioned sea stars eagerly harvest. They march over the reef like characters in a cartoon world. When viewed at normal speed, they seem to lose their personality. Eagle rays are managing as well. Like their cousins, the sharks, they use sensory organs on their snouts to find creatures hidden in the sand. Goatfish have whisker-like appendages called barbels to probe for buried crabs and worms. Even during hard times, the fish that remain on the reef expect a little personal service. Goatfish change color at turn on end to attract the attention of tiny hogfish cleaners. If there aren't enough cleaner fish, a rubbing rock will have to do. And if a rubbing rock isn't handy, just about any smooth surface will work, even if it's moving. A green turtle normally grazes on algae, but today there's a special treat, a small branch that has been washed off the island. If only it would hold still. Cocos is only a stopover for turtles. This female will travel hundreds of miles to find a mate, and even further to lay her eggs on a distant beach. The hermit crab, on the other hand, is here to stay. Hermits are so adaptable, they don't even have their own shells. They just borrow them. As they grow, they exchange one home for another roomier one. To make sure it's unoccupied, the hermit wisely knocks first. There's an old saying among hermit crabs, if the shell fits, wear it. On the island, it's nesting season for seabirds, although actual nests are optional. The fairy tern lays her egg on a tree branch. It's an extremely delicate balancing act. On the rocks below, armies of shore crabs savor a great delicacy: bird droppings. Brown boobies raise their young on the hillside. Nearly every afternoon, dark clouds gather over the island. More than 300 inches of rain fall here each year. It's been almost a year since El Niño began. But ocean currents are finally returning. Undersea vistas blur as cold water rises to mix with warm, bringing back nutrients that were absent for so long. Swarms of convict tangs converge on a small shelf at the edge of the reef. A few minutes after sunset, the entire school rises and begins to spawn. Females race skyward, releasing a cloud of eggs, while males rush close behind to fertilize them. The eggs are swept away by the currents and carried far from the island, where they join a floating nursery of newly hatched fish. Some, like this immature flounder, drift for months before currents bring them back to settle on the reef. Once again, the hunting grounds are full of predators and prey. A flounder ambushes tiny rainbow wrasse. But in the night sea, predators stalk predators. For sleeping fish, the night is a test of survival. A Creole fish cowers against the coral. A shark, passing close enough, can sense the electric aura of a beating heart. The Creole fish escapes into the darkness. But soon, the pack has another fish trapped in the coral. The pack moves on, relentlessly taking victims where it can. The island is reborn as the normal flow of deep ocean currents continues to mix with warm water near the surface. Giant manta rays are back to harvest the bounty of plankton. The magnetic signature of the volcanic rock is a beacon for the migrating animals, guiding hammerhead sharks back to Cocos. Their distinctive heads contain special sensors. They can actually detect the Earth's magnetic field, which they follow like a road map through the vast open ocean. Barberfish are here to greet them. Notoriously shy creatures. They hover above these reefs for only brief periods before vanishing once again. Below on the sand, there's a 14-inch-long mantis shrimp. It uses sickle-like claws to impale its prey. The shrimp spends most of its time concealed in the mouth of its burrow, where it prepares to ambush any small fish that pass within range. The male blue-spotted jawfish also lives in a burrow. He feeds on plankton moving past his den. With food once again plentiful, he can afford to devote some time to a little home improvement in hopes of attracting a mate. The female, who is darker than the male, is getting ready to leave on a scouting trip for potential partners. The mantis shrimp is on the lookout. The female makes the first move, but she's rebuffed. So she swims off in precisely the wrong direction. It's a fatal mistake. This male can only hope that opportunity knocks twice. All over the reef, the restored currents set the stage for romance. A few dozen marbled rays gather at the base of a boulder. All but one are male. Buried at the bottom of this heap is a large female, almost twice their size, the object of their amorous advances. The female shows no sign of interest. Without so much as a glance back at her ardent suitors, she swims away. But the male's perseverance knows no bounds. They will pursue a potential mate for days if necessary. Hope and instinct spring eternal. These reefs have been empty of fish for months. But literally overnight, Cocos is transformed by a new generation of juvenile fish. For the sharks, the time of scarcity is over. Sated whitetips rest on the bottom before continuing the feast. High above the reef, green jacks gather to feed. Silky sharks and blacktip sharks move in for the attack. The jacks on the outside of the school dive towards the center for protection. The school begins to revolve like a living maelstrom. But there is no escape. Brown boobies and frigate birds dive into the swirling mass of fish. The assault subsides as sharks, tuna, and rainbow runners compete to seize the remaining jacks. Brown boobies waddle on the surface, stomachs too full to fly. Bottlenose dolphin arrive too late. The jacks are gone. Only a constellation of fish scales remains. Cocos Island exists outside the boundaries of the modern world, a protected sanctuary for the ocean's most spectacular predators. But it's not within the nature of these elusive creatures to stay. They are travelers of the sea wind, and the sea that brought them to this safe haven is pulling them away once more.